cold, gray, and dull. I'm talking about the weather in Moscow, of course, and not about Russia. So you can forget all those stereotypes you've become accustomed to, because what you'll find in Russia today is one of the most vibrant cultures in the world. In this episode, our first of a two-part series, we join Trafalgar's guided tour of the Russian imperial cities of Moscow and St. Petersburg. We'll begin in Moscow, the current capital of the Russian Federation, and take you to parts of the city that were once restricted to outsiders like me. We'll take you as well on a retro tour of the former Soviet Union's proud and mighty architectural legacy, and see how much the life of Muscovites have changed since the collapse of communism in the early 90s, with the return of religious fervor and excessive luxury to this modern cosmopolitan city. So join us, I'm David Celdran, and this is Executive Class. It's my first day and my first time in Moscow, the capital of the former Soviet Union and of the current Russian Federation. Like the mist and fog that blanket the city, Moscow is shrouded in mystery, at least to those of us who grew up during the Cold War or followed the news coverage of spies and scandals in the Russian city. Yes, even from this distant vantage point, Moscow is intriguing. Every great city has that one spot overlooking the city that gives you the best view of its skyline. And in Moscow, it's this one. Yes, even the fog that shrouds the city. This is the iconic photo of Moscow. The view of central Moscow from Sparrow Hills is amazing, even when the sun isn't shining. Gray, gloomy, monochromatic. Yes, this is how I've always imagined Moscow to be. And in a strange way, it's what makes Moscow so beautiful. Of course, it isn't always gray every day, as these promotional videos of Moscow show you. On a bright day, the colors of the city emerge and glow from its medieval fortress towers, grand palaces, and cathedral domes. In a city which averages only 75 days of sunshine a year, you eventually learn to adjust and discover that Moscow's treasures are just as amazing, even in a damp and dark morning. Any walking tour of Moscow should begin here, at the Kremlin. This was where the city was founded, after all. From its origins as a crude wooden trading port on the banks of the Moskva River, Moscow has grown to become the capital of the world's largest country, and one of its most powerful still. The walled citadel, the Kremlin, was the site of the original city, the seat of imperial tsars and Orthodox patriarchs, of communist premiers, and currently President Vladimir Putin. It was a 15th century Grand Duke of Moscow, Ivan the Great, who envisioned the Kremlin as we see it today, and of whom the lone bell tower of the citadel, its tallest structure, was named after. His bell tower stands above the two Orthodox churches of Cathedral Square, in one where Russian tsars were invested, the other where they were buried. The Church of the Assumption was where every Tsar was crowned. From Ivan IV the Terrible to Russia's last emperor, Nicholas II. The simple facade gives you no clue of the artistic and ecclesiastical treasures found inside the building. Under the atheist communist Soviet regime, all the Kremlin's churches were converted into state buildings, but all have been restored to their former imperial glory. Indeed, after decades of strict restrictions on visitors, the Kremlin has opened its doors and its priceless collection of imperial treasures to tourists. Although buildings like the presidential palace are still off limits. But it's amazing to freely walk the grounds of what is still depicted in spy novels and movies as one of the world's most secretive places. Once you're done spying around the Kremlin, it's a short walk to another infamous landmark, Red Square. I grew up with news footage of goose-stepping troops, tanks, and missiles on parade in this square, and I'm surprised to see how tranquil this UNESCO World Heritage Site actually is.
It really is red as advertised. Now, a lot of people think that Red Square was named after the color red because red represents communism, or the color of the bricks. No, it's called Red Square because, roughly translated, the word for beautiful in Russian is red.
That's right, the word for beauty. And all along I thought red was for the blood from the executions held during the Tsarist rule. Or the color of international communism. The Red Star, after all, still clings to the tip of the Spasskaya Tower. And the mausoleum of the Supreme Soviet leader, Lenin, remains enshrined on the square. The Workers' Party may have lorded over Red Square in the past, but is a capitalists and consumers at the GUM department store that have since taken over, along with the priests that have returned to the colorful Kazan Cathedral and St. Basil's, Russia's most recognizable symbol, along with the iconic Matryoshka doll, of course. With its fairy tale features and amusement park colors, it's easy to forget that St. Basil's was built to commemorate the Virgin Mary's hand in the miraculous victory of Russians over the Tatars. If you think the structure, shaped like flames rising to the sky, is impressive, wait till you see the beautifully restored frescoes and altar pieces inside. Tsar Ivan the Terrible, who commissioned the building, was so impressed by it, he was said to have ordered the blinding of its architects so the feat could never be repeated. He was called Terrible after all. Terrible and brutal as Ivan IV was, Muscovites owed the rise of their city to him. The city, chosen by the Tsar as his empire's capital, has grown to become the largest in the European continent and one of the most congested.
Moscow is one of the largest cities on the planet, so if you're planning on seeing it on foot, forget about it because it's not going to happen. And not even by car because the traffic here is just horrible. A great alternative, however, is a river cruise, so let's go.
If you wish, Trafalgar can arrange a luxury cruise along the Moscow River. This fleet of state-of-the-art yachts is operated by the Radisson Royal Moscow and departs from the pier of the Deluxe Hotel.
All right, this is exciting. We're about to go. So we're taking off from the port, which is the Radisson Hotel, a brand new hotel located in one of these Seven Sisters, as you can see. One of these iconic Stalinist structures from the 1950s.
Because most iconic landmarks and buildings are visible from the river, the cruise covers pretty much all the most important sites in a single journey.
Look over there, that's another one of these Seven Sisters in the distance. But much closer to the riverbank, you'll see the horrendous traffic of Moscow. It could take you like a full hour to just get from a short distance in the city, which is why this river cruise is fantastic. It's the fastest and most convenient way to cover as much ground as possible.
If ever, and it usually does, rain or snow in winter, the heated cabin, and some hot tea allow you to enjoy the views in the comfort of your seat.
As you can see, it's really cold and rainy outside. So what do the Muscovites do when it's cold and rainy? Well, they have some hot soup, and in this case, traditional borscht. Let's see how they enjoy it.
Borscht is my introduction to the local cuisine. It's a hearty vegetable and beef soup that's enjoyed by Russians everywhere. Traditional Siberian dumplings is a specialty from Russia's northeastern frontier. In the frigid Moscow winter, the river is often iced over, but because this luxury yacht is also an icebreaker, cruises run 365 days a year, even in the dead of winter. And whether you choose to enjoy the scenery in the warmth of the cabin or out in the cold, you're guaranteed the absolute best views of Moscow, especially at night when the river's long tree line and Moscow's famous landmarks are aglow. You won't catch a better view of the Kremlin's walls and towers, I assure you. Or of the Christ Savior Cathedral's giant gilded dome. Same with the elegant bridges and colorful buildings that glide above you. And before you know it, it's back to where the cruise started and onto the famous nightlife of Moscow. Nighttime can be tricky if you're not familiar with the city, so I'm taking one of Trafalgar's local experts along with me to the famous Arbat shopping and entertainment district. The kilometer-long pedestrian street is one of Moscow's oldest, though it's better known today for its souvenir shops, and they say the best place to buy authentic fur hats and Russia's world-famous Matryoshka dolls in all colors and sizes. I'm on my way to try Russian caviar, and I'm told the historic Hotel National across the Kremlin is where I could find some of the best in the city. After the Russian Revolution, the National became the home of the first Soviet government, but its proletarian days are long over. The National, a Marriott luxury collection property today, is back to its opulent ways. This is one of the reasons I came to Moscow, to try these silky and delicate flavored black eggs, the roe of sturgeon from the Caspian Sea. Although here, they serve the roe of salmon and the roe of pike fish as well. There are many ways to eat caviar, with or without sour cream or a side dish of Olivier salad, with a blini or straight from the spoon. Whichever way, you'll get that same sensational taste and feel in the mouth. One of Moscow's foremost guilty pleasures. When executive class returns after the break, we'll visit Moscow's suddenly cool Soviet-era monuments and bask in the luxurious lifestyle of its post-communist nouveau riche and social elite.